Hi, kids. Welcome to Monster Mondays. I'm going to be, I've decided to go through, for the most part, the Christopher Lee Dracula films from Hammer. Chances are I'll be doing Brides of Dracula as well, which does not have Christopher Lee in it. Main thing I think I want to talk about in this particular film, the U.S. release was called The Horror of Dracula. In England, it was probably elsewhere, it was just known as Dracula. Not the best copy to have, but I got this 4-pack. I do have a couple Blu-rays that replace, I think, this one and this one. So, well, I want to go through the plot of the movie, and kind of talk about the changes and why I think some of them were made. Some of them I wasn't sure why. For instance, Mina and Lucy are actually technically the same, but they make Lucy into Jonathan Harker's betrothed. And I think that's an economic way to bring Dracula. So in this Dracula, it all appears to be in mainland Europe, not mainland, like Transylvania and England. I think it kind of appears that the countries are next to each other, so they're very close to each other, so they can go to Dracula's castle pretty easily. And that's part of the situation. It kind of changes. Except Dracula's probably screwing with just about everybody in the countryside, and they're in another country. And when Jonathan Harker, played by John Van Essen, there's no picture in IMDb of him, but Jonathan Harker goes to the castle Dracula to be the librarian. Interesting thing that they did take from the book, that Dracula does have a library, and I think that's why they got Jonathan to be altered into a librarian instead of a realtor. Or a lawyer. I think he might have been a lawyer, but Dracula sees Lucy's picture. Lucy's played by Carol Marsh, very, very, very attractive young woman. I'll get back to her later. But that puts Dracula, or this family, in the headlights of Dracula. It's like he desires Lucy, much like he desired Mina in the book and in other adaptations. But Mina is actually the sister-in-law of Lucy. Well, getting back to Jonathan. Jonathan actually goes to the Castle Dracula because he's an associate of Van Helsing, and he knows who Dracula is. He knows Dracula is a vampire, and this is an attempt to infiltrate the household of Dracula and destroy him. Jonathan is, his fate is much different than from the book. He Well, first off, there's a vampire woman. There's a change from the book, and this is more economics. Uh, Instead of three vampire brides, there's just one, played by Valerie Gaunt. With this vampire woman, there's a it's similar to a scene from the book, and it's been depicted in other films as the vampire brides try to feed on Jonathan, and Dracula interrupts this incident, and this is played out with the one vampire woman. Dracula already knows he's a vampire, but this is him revealing to Harker, who he doesn't realize is a spy. Once it's known that Dracula is a vampire, Harker's fate is sealed. He is killed, and he becomes a vampire. Never see him running around, but Van Helsing ends up having to destroy him. One thing from the book that they kept was a diary. Somehow the diary makes it outside the castle, and the pub owner's daughter has it and gives to Van Helsing, and well, that starts the ball rolling for the storyline. Van Helsing eventually goes to Jonathan's family, his sister and brother-in-law. Brother-in-law is played by Michael Gough. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, everybody knows him as Alfred from the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Batmans. Great actor. He's really good in it. He takes all the weight from Jonathan Harker. Jonathan is dead. Van Helsing cremates him to destroy him because he's a vampire, and well, they're having a hard time, or Van Helsing is having a hard time for getting at least Arthur, who Michael Gough is playing, into believing that Dracula's a vampire, the undead. Of course, Dracula's after Lucy, and it's pretty close to how it would have gone in the book. I think they sort of throw out the notion that you have to invite a vampire in. I think they're all like that. Because I think Dracula intrudes a lot in these movies. She becomes a vampire, obviously, and also economically. And I think they've done this in other movies. She starts feeding on children, but she doesn't really feed on many children. She actually sort of tries to lure her niece to be fed upon. And this is what, this is Arthur's sister, and once he sees her as a vampire, he can't help but believe. But getting back to Carol Marsh as Lucy, she has this wonderful face that can be sweet and innocent before becoming a vampire. When she's a vampire, not just her face, but her face can go from sweet to fierce and kind of scary looking. She has these great cheekbones, big eyes. And it's just a perfect face for either one. And she's probably one of the best people who have ever played a vampire. I mean, she's quite impressive in the role. And definitely easy on the eyes. She's very pretty either way. Yeah, either way. And talking about performances, this had to be quite a sight for audiences of the 50s. They were being reintroduced to the Universal classics, and those were all in black and white. This is in very bright Technicolor. First time we end up having fangs and blood. But Christopher Lee's, the way they go with him when full vampire mode, this one only hints at it, though it's still successful. The way Lee approaches the role, it's very bestial. It's frightening. I mean, even if they didn't add the red to his eyes, or even the fangs, him with those, the wild in his eyes, and just the fierceness of his face is just, when he's in that, because when he, first is introduced, he's a gentleman and everything, just as it should be. But going on, see, this ends up working great. Like I said, Dracula's lured to this family. It's a kind of a different situation, but it ends up being very close to what happens in the book in a way. Mina does become the main victim, even though Lucy, it's like in the book, it's just, oh, Lucy's here, and she found me on the shore, and that, of course, he attaches himself to that. Then he kind of throws her away, because he's mostly interested in Mina. This was just the radar, to get. Well, he does make her a vampire bride. Just like, in the book. He doesn't really discard her, but his main thing in the book and other adaptations was Mina. This one was just to lure him to this family. Oh, and there's another woman here. And these guys are, tracking me down, so I'm going to kind of retaliate by snatching up another one of their women. But getting back to that, Mina is played by Melissa Stripling. All these actors are excellent in this movie, and I'm not completely sure. There's Marks the Undertaker, played by Miles Melson. He's very funny, very good comic relief. But I think a lot of those changes, the change in who Harker is betrothed to, and her being the first target, it made sense to kind of change it. This is all economics, and I think that the screenplay is quite impressive in doing this. The screenplay is written by Jimmy Sangster, kind of like gangster, but Sangster. Uh, he wrote quite a few other Hammer movies. I think he did some TV, even American, like Wonder Woman. But yeah, I think his screenplay is quite impressive. It's very economic, and it really does more or less tell the story of the book. I wouldn't call it exactly faithful, because there's loads of different changes. One thing they do keep, in my view, more than many other Dracula movies, is they keep him separate from kind of like the chamber story. I forgot what they exactly call it, but when Dracula was originally adapted to the stage by Bram Stoker, they had him visiting the family and everything and all that, and a chamber play, I think that's what they call it. This avoids that by partially making the locations very close to each other, and yes, you see Dracula as a kind of like a gentleman in the opening of the movie, and just like in the book, there's an eventual bestial type quality to him during that segment of it, and they keep him. He doesn't socialize with these people. He's a menace to them. He's latched onto them, and he is going to be doing evil. He's evil. He's not romantic. If anything, he's a rapist. I knew this was gonna play pretty long, but I had a lot to say. I probably have a lot more to say, but yeah, I really enjoyed this film. The Dracula meltdown at the end really was kind of a huge deal when I was a kid, and it's still pretty cool. I mean, Peter Cushing shows how much of a badass athlete he is in this movie, the way he jumps around and everything. Well, I'm going to stop it here. Otherwise, I'm going to go for a half hour. Yeah. The horror Dracula is, just a wonderful, Christopher Lee's my favorite Dracula. And mostly because the motherfucker is scary as hell. He's the scariest actor to ever play Dracula. Unless you count Max Schreck, which... truthfully, he is Dracula. He's not Orlok. But, well, until next time, stay safe and always have a good time. Bye now.